Ladies and gentlemen who are in the room, please take your seats. We're about to begin shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? We're about to begin shortly. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin in 4 minutes. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the forum officially in 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll soon begin the forum in 2 minutes. Please take your seats immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? We'll shortly begin the KOPIST High-Level Policy Forum in 1 minute. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats immediately. We'll begin shortly. 장내에 계신 참가자 여러분께 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 잠시부터 이곳 그랜드 볼룸에서 2025 코피스트 고위급 관광정책 토론회가 시작될 예정입니다. 행사가 시작된 후에는 가지고 계신 휴대전화는 진동 모드로 전환해 주시면 대단히 감사하겠습니다. 오늘 컨퍼런스는 동시 통역 서비스가 제공됩니다. 자리에 놓인 수신기를 이용하시기 바라며 채널 1번은 한국어, 채널 2번은 영어입니다. 감사합니다. May I have your attention please? We are about to start today's event. Once the event begins, please switch your phone to silent mode. We appreciate your cooperation. Simultaneous interpretation services will be provided during the conference. Please use the receivers prepared at your seats and choose Channel 1 for Korean and Channel 2 for English. We'll begin shortly. Thank you. Your Excellencies, Heads of Delegation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We'll now begin the 2025 KOPIST High-Level Policy Forum. My name is Min-kyung Park, International Relations Coordinator at the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea, and I'll be your host for today's forum. It is truly a pleasure to welcome you here in the beautiful city of Yeosu. The KOPIST program, launched in 2014, has grown into a meaningful cooperation platform, strengthening tourism policies and on-the-ground capacity of partner countries. Through policy training and cooperation on tourism development. Over the years, Korea and its partner countries have built strong connections while exchanging diverse experiences and knowledge on sustainable tourism development. Today's forum marks another milestone for this ongoing journey. The 2025 KOPIST High-Level Policy Forum is held under the theme Fostering Regional Development Through Ecotourism. Together, we'll explore how tourism can contribute to the regional sustainability and the resilience of local communities. Today, we are joined by 11 partner countries along with officials from Korea's Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and the Korea Tourism Organization. I sincerely hope this forum will serve as a meaningful platform to share experiences and seek strategic approaches to community-based ecotourism. Before we start, I'll briefly walk you through today's schedule. The forum consists of 3 sessions. Session 1, which will focus on the topic Changes in Tourism Patterns Following Climate Change, and Session 2, which will explore directions for ecotourism development and sustainability. And finally, Session 3, which will feature discussions among countries' local culture and ecotourism. In each session, we'll have short presentations and open dialogue among country representatives. We hope you can gain meaningful insights and inspirations throughout these sessions. Now, it is my honor to introduce the heads of delegations who have joined us today. I will announce each country in the alphabetical order of their country. Please give them a big round of applause as they're introduced. First, we have Mr. Algun Javadov from Azerbaijan. Please give him a big round of applause, please. We have Mr. Palden Lamo from Bhutan. We have Her Excellency Honorable Minister Abla Dizifa Gumashi from Ghana. We have Ms. Masruro from Indonesia. We have Ms. Malika Mortoeva from Kyrgyzstan. We have Mr. Saipasong Vongsak from Laos. We have Ms. Ingrid Kuman from Papua New Guinea for joining us through Zoom. We have Ms. Rosa Maria Gracia Roses Zuluaga from Peru. We have His Excellency Deputy Permanent Secretary Nkuba Eliezer Mabula from Tanzania. We have Mr. Basil Azer from Uganda for joining us via Zoom. We have Ms. Nguyen Thanh Binh from Vietnam. Last but not least, from the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, we have Mr. Chung-Eun Kim, Director General for Tourism Policy. Once again, I thank you all for joining us today. We'll now begin the opening ceremony of the 2025 KOPIST High-Level Policy Forum. Although she could not join us in person, the Vice Minister for Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea, Miran Jang, kindly sent us opening video remarks. Let's take a look.
안녕하십니까. 문화체육관광부 차관 장미란입니다. 2025 코피스트 고위급 관광정책 포럼에 참석해 주신 11개국 대표단 여러분을 진심으로 환영합니다. 특히 한국을 찾아주신 가나 관광문화창조예술부 아블라 디지파 고마시 장관님, 탄자니아 천연자원관광부 은코바 에리에제 마볼라 차관보님께 깊이 감사드립니다. 아울러 기조연설을 맡아주신 켈리 브리커 교수님과 좌장을 맡아주신 윤동환 교수님, 발표와 토론에 참여해주시는 모든 전문가 여러분께도 감사의 말씀을 전합니다. 2014년에 시작된 코피스트 관광 지도자 초청 연수 사업은 다양한 주제에 대한 지식과 정책을 공유하며 지속 가능한 관광 발전을 모색해온 대한민국의 대표적인 개발 협력 사업입니다. 그동안 35개 협력국, 연수생 500여 명이 참석해 관광으로 사회와 지역에 긍정적인 변화를 일으키고자 고민해왔습니다. 올해 포럼의 주제는 생태 관광을 통한 지역사회 발전입니다. 관광산업이 코로나19 이전 수준으로 회복하고 기후변화가 관광산업에 직접적인 영향을 미치고 있는 지금이야말로 우리는 환경적 책임, 경제적 포용, 사회적 회복력을 갖춘 새로운 관광의 길을 함께 고민해야 합니다. 생태 관광은 단순히 자연을 즐기는 것을 넘어 지역의 생태와 문화를 존중하며 보존하고 그 이익이 지역 주민에게 실질적으로 돌아가는 지속 가능하고 포용적인 관광 방식입니다. 오늘 포럼에서 생태 관광으로 지역사회 발전을 이끈 사례와 경험을 공유하고 각국이 함께 실천할 수 있는 정책적 해법을 도출하기를 기대합니다. 대한민국은 코피스트 사업을 통해 축적된 지식이 협력국의 현장에서도 씨앗으로 뿌려져 열매를 맺을 수 있도록 앞으로도 계속 노력하겠습니다. 다시 한번 바쁘신 중에도 귀한 발걸음을 옮겨주신 여러분께 감사드리며 남해안의 아름다운 해양도시 여수와 대한민국 생태관광 1번지 순천의 맛과 멋을 충분히 경험하시고 돌아가시길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Vice Minister, for your opening remarks. Next, we'll have Mr. Chang Wook-jung, Executive Director of MICE Bureau at the Korea Tourism Organization, deliver his remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause.
네, 여기까지 걸어 나오는데 좀 시간이 길었습니다. 기다려주셔서 감사합니다. 안녕하십니까. 한국관광공사 마이스 실장 정창욱입니다. 먼저 2025년 코피스트 고위급 정책 포럼에 참석해 주신 각국 관광부처 담당자 여러분을 진심으로 환영합니다. 이번 포럼은 관광 ODA 중점 협력국을 포함하여 11개국의 고위급 및 실무급 관광 담당 공무원 여러분을 모시고 관광산업의 지속가능한 발전을 위한 정책적 경험과 지식을 공유하는 뜻깊은 자리입니다. 근본 코피스트에서는 생태관광을 통한 지역사회 발전을 주제로 생태관광 개발 방향과 지속가능성, 그리고 기후변화에 따른 관광 패턴 변화와 적용 전략, 각국의 지역협력 기반의 성공 모델, 그리고 민간 혁신 및 정책과의 연결 등을 상호 공유함으로써 우리 모두가 직면한 관광 산업의 변화를 함께 고민하고 해결책을 모색하는 자리가 될 것입니다. 포럼 이후에도 이어지는 3주간의 실무 연수에서도 생태관광 등을 통한 지역관광 성공 사례를 현장에서 직접 체험하고 빅데이터를 활용한 관광 마케팅 및 생태관광 실행 전략 등을 각 분야 전문가들과 함께 논의하게 될 것입니다. 이를 통해서 참가국이 관광정책을 수립하고 실행하는 데 실질적인 도움이 되기를 기대합니다. 특히 이번 코피스트 프로그램이 각국 간의 정책적 협력은 물론 향후 대한민국과의 관광 분야 협력 사업 추진에 도움이 되기를 진심으로 바랍니다. 끝으로 이번 포럼을 통해서 참석자 여러분 모두 각 지역의 관광 발전을 위한 인사이트와 소정의 성과를 얻어가시길 바라며 바쁜 일정 속에서도 본 프로그램에 참여해 주신 여러분께 다시 한번 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 아무쪼록 한국에 머무시는 동안 한국의 문화와 음식 등 다양한 관광 매력도 직접 체험하면서 즐거운 시간 되시길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Executive Director Jung, for your kind words. Next, we'll take a group photo to commemorate this event. I kindly ask all distinguished guests sitting on the front table to come forward to the stage. I thank all our distinguished guests for joining us for the opening ceremony and group photo session. Now, we'll officially open the forum with the keynote speech. It is my great pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Professor Kelly Bricker from the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions at Arizona State University. Professor Bricker is a globally respected scholar in the fields of sustainable and nature-based tourism, and she has played a key role in various international networks, including the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. Today, she will deliver a keynote speech on fostering regional development through ecotourism, sharing her insights on how tourism can contribute to community resilience and sustainable development. Please join me in welcoming and giving a big round of applause to Professor Kelly Bricker. Professor, the stage is yours.
Kamsahamnida, honored guests, thank you and good morning. I'm so happy to be here from my home state of Arizona and to discuss my favorite topic, ecotourism, as the symbiotic nature of things. It's a means for creating conservation and communities. I'm excited to share my thoughts on this incredible possibilities for ecotourism here in Korea and across the world. I hope to fulfill the promise of sharing the importance of destination stewardship and the importance of natural and cultural assets for sustainable economic development, and to share the GSTC framework for achieving destination stewardship, as well as success stories for collaboration and ideas in tourism, including partnerships in tourism through public and private entities. And I hope to inspire and perhaps ignite new ideas for maximizing the benefits of tourism while enhancing our natural and cultural heritage and bringing tangible benefits to our communities. At the core of my talk, I will focus on the importance of a healthy planet, driving all that we do, and partnerships that bring unity in our diversity, as well as the important role that nature plays in tourism's capacity to do good for people and planet. My comments are informed by my experiences as an interpreter, outdoor educator, adventure travel guide, ecotourism business owner, outdoor planner for public lands, volunteer board member of many nonprofit organizations, educator, and researcher. It is my hope that one, I'll keep your attention with nice photos, but more importantly, this presentation will allow you to reflect on key aspects of your own lives and professional undertakings. For others, the work that you do, as well as where your work might take you in the future. So sit back and relax and try to imagine our journey and the evolution you have experienced in sustainable and ecotourism and related professions. I'm making the assumption that everyone in this room cares a great deal about and has dedicated their professional life towards enhancing health and well-being of their communities, with health and well-being defined as the state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy for all people, communities, and inhabitants we share this amazing planet with. John Muir, a philosopher and conservationist from the US, once said, "Everybody needs beauty as well as bread, places to play in and pray in, where nature may heal and cheer and give strength to the body and soul alike." His sentiment from over 200 years ago has actually been supported through various research. So, in a time of mounting environmental challenges and shifting economic dynamics, we are compelled to ask, How do we grow our regions in a way that strengthens communities, protects biodiversity, and ensures long-term prosperity? The answer lies in stewardship. The Global Sustainable Council's Destination Standard provide a framework that helps us align tourism growth with sustainability values. Today, we'll walk through this framework and share stories from communities around the world that have implemented ecotourism, not just as a form of travel, but as a form of transformation. We often have to remind ourselves that connecting with special places that make up our cultural and natural heritage is not simply a niche segment of tourism markets. These are mechanisms for resilience and regeneration. For example, 7 to 25% or more of global tourism is nature-based, and its appeal continues to rise as travelers seek authenticity and meaningful connection with natural and cultural assets. But beyond the true strength of natural and cultural assets lies in their ability to serve as an economic engine, especially for underserved communities in rural areas. Natural and cultural heritage can generate local employment, stimulate investment in small enterprises, and support critical ecosystems. And when managed properly, these assets contribute to maintaining clean water supplies, preserving forest cover, protecting biodiversity, and reducing urban migration. Protecting natural heritage is foundational to sustaining life on Earth. Natural ecosystems ranging from forests and oceans to wetlands and mountains are vital repositories of biodiversity, offering essential ecological functions like climate regulation, clean and air water, and fertile soils. These environments buffer communities against climate disasters and support global food, health, and water systems. And beyond ecological value, they nourish human well-being through recreation, cultural practices, and spiritual significance. Economically, natural heritage supports ecotourism, green jobs, and resilient livelihoods, especially in underserved regions. Most critically, safeguarding nature is a moral responsibility, ensuring that future generations inherit a healthy and habitable planet. Likewise, protecting cultural heritage is integral to preserving the identity, dignity, and resilience communities' cultural assets have, both tangible and intangible. Anchored shared memory, sustain traditions, and empower local voices. Cultural heritage protection fosters intercultural understanding, supports inclusive and sustainable tourism, and sustains local economies through community-driven enterprises. Heritage protection upholds human rights, ancestral connections to land. In a rapidly changing world, strong cultural roots offer social cohesion and resilience. Within the context of sustainable tourism, protecting cultural heritage is not just about preservation. It's about honoring diverse worldviews and fostering ethical place-based stewardship. Yet we must also acknowledge the risks. Unmanaged tourism can degrade the very resource it depends on. Therefore, planning oversight and shared responsibility are essential to making ecotourism a force for sustainable regional development. To guide destinations in this balancing act, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, or GSTC, offers its destination standards, which serve as a comprehensive benchmark for sustainability. The sustainable standards are built on 4 pillars, which include sustainable management, socioeconomic benefits, cultural benefits, and of course, the environment. The substance of the SDGs are found more specifically in the GSTC criteria. Sustainable management begins with strong governance. Destinations must have a coordinating body that includes public, private, and civil society stakeholders. This body sets policy, manages risk, and monitors progress through a transparent and inclusive process. Socioeconomic benefits in tourism should generate widespread economic benefits. This includes supporting local entrepreneurship, ensuring decent work conditions, and promoting fair trade supply chains. GSTC encourages destinations to measure economic contributions and ensure equity across demographics. In protecting cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible cultural assets are essential. The framework encourages collaboration with local custodians of culture and promotes respectful interpretation that educates and empowers visitors and residents alike. From biodiversity protection to climate adaptation, this pillar emphasizes responsible land use, low-impact development, pollution control, and resilience planning. It also requires tourism professionals to see and monitor visitor volume management and climate risk. Collectively, these pillars help destinations align tourism development with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They offer not just a set of indicators, but a shared vision for thriving places and thriving people. Now let's explore case studies from around the world that illustrate how standards are implemented within each of these four pillars. So, in the area of sustainable management, I'm going to talk about the Cayman Islands. Faced with the risk of climate change, overcrowding, and poorly regulated tourism, the Cayman Islands created a sustainable tourism destination plan. Their strategy enhanced stakeholder coordination and spread benefits more equitably across communities while addressing threats like environmental degradation and safety. It reflects GSTC's call for inclusive destination governance. Under the pillar of socioeconomic standards, in Vanuatu, a grassroots ecotourism initiative produced the Pacific Protect Sunscreen Project, an ocean-safe, locally made product that protects coral reefs. By encouraging tourists to use sustainable products and promoting local entrepreneurship, this initiative supports community well-being while reinforcing ecological goals. In the area of cultural benefits, Acadia National Park uses real-time trail counters and seasonal restrictions to protect cultural and natural resources. This includes rerouting visitors to avoid peregrine falcon nesting areas and preserving fragile summit vegetation. It exemplifies respectful management of cultural and ecological assets. In considering environmental, socioeconomic, and culture, this next example is one that I have been personally involved in for over 25 years. The Rivers Fiji case study offers a compelling example of how ecotourism can serve as a powerful vehicle for environmental sustainability and community development. At the heart of this initiative is the protection of the Upper Navua Conservation Area, a pristine 18-kilometer canyon located in the highlands of Viti Levu. Established in 2000 through a groundbreaking conservation lease agreement involving indigenous landowners, a logging company, Native Land and Trust Board, the UNCA prohibits commercial extraction along the river. This protection has preserved critical biodiversity, including rare and endemic species such as the sago palm and Fiji's only boa constrictor. Notably, the area was also recognized as Fiji's first and only Ramsar site, or wetland of international importance, underscoring its global ecological value. Beyond environmental protection, Rivers Fiji has provided tangible economic and social benefits for local communities. Indigenous landowners receive direct compensation through lease payments and user fees. And while the operation has generated employment opportunities and supported local businesses, ecotourism has diversified the region's economy, traditionally reliant on farming and logging, fostering resilience and sustainability. And additionally, the revenue from tourism has contributed to infrastructure development, including new schools, clinics, and access to clean water. Training and education programs have further empowered community members to participate actively in and benefit from growing ecotourism sectors. A central element of Rivers Fiji's success lies in its emphasis on environmental outreach and education. In collaboration with the local NGO Nature Fiji, the project has implemented immersive river trips and sustainability education programs aimed at fostering environmental awareness. These initiatives have targeted both children and adults, encouraging stewardship by highlighting cultural, ecological, and economic value of the natural landscape. As a result, communities have developed a deeper appreciation for conservation, laying the groundwork for long-term protection of their natural heritage. Despite the challenges associated with tourism, such as resource consumption and cultural pressures, Rivers Fiji demonstrates how ecotourism can generate a virtuous cycle. Tourist spending directly supports conservation and local livelihoods, while visitors often become advocates for environmental protection. In turn, improved quality of life and community empowerment reinforce a conservation ethic among local stakeholders. This reciprocal relationship between tourism and conservation offers a self-sustaining model for ecological preservation and socioeconomic development, making Rivers Fiji a global exemplar of integrated environmental stewardship. This next short film showcases the importance of working with communities to establish a program that not only conserves a river corridor, but provides natural capital directly to communities who depend on the resource for economic development within the region.
The island dream I expected. Endless beach, sand, surf, sunsets, even fire. I didn't expect this. I've been lucky to have seen rivers around the world. I've even run a few, source to sea. So I guess I thought I'd seen what rivers could offer, and the natural artwork they sculpt upon our landscapes. Honestly, no description could have prepared me for this. What the native people here refer to as the highway to their ancestors. Some call it the River of Eden. Others say it is the tropical Grand Canyon. Here, in Fiji, the locals call it the Navua River. Beyond this undescribable beauty, something else lured me here. The Upper Navua River is the only protected river of its kind in the South Pacific.
When I was born, I heard stories about this area. This is like a route or road to all our ancestors up in this area. That's a good thing that we Rivers Fiji have protected it from other developments like extracting gravel, mining, or damming the whole river.
About 15 years ago, a small rafting company did the unthinkable. They convinced local landowners and the government that the long-term economic benefit of conservation and tourism outweighed the quick money from extracting their resources or damming their river. I came here to understand how so few people could protect such a spectacular corridor inside Fiji's volcanic heart.
The Upper Navua River Canyon is one of the most beautiful rivers on Earth. It is a tight, narrow canyon that probably is less than 20 feet wide in some places, spans up to 250, 300 feet high. It has dark black canyon walls fringed with green palms and ferns with trickles of water and waterfalls throughout the whole course. During the rainy season, we easily would never be out of sight upstream or downstream of a waterfall. And I've never been in a place where that is even remotely possible.
Welcome to my office.
There are several approaches to conservation in Fiji. The approach that we've used here at the Upper Navua Conservation Area is with children. We anticipate that bringing the children out to experience benefits of grandparents or the elders' decision to protect the area, we hope will inspire them to continue to manage it well for tourism and also, more importantly, for future generations.
Conservation is something we have to wake up to every day and say, we have to protect this place. It's never a fight that is over.
Children of the Matangali that own land adjacent to the river to have to know its value and know that they have the power to protect it or to lose it.
A Fijian friend told me, you don't have to dig very deep into the Upper Navua Conservation Area to find gold. As the stewards of this ancestral river showed me, value not only surrounds them in the form of beauty, but it also supports them.
I can say it's my best friend. I treated the river with respect every day I step onto it.
This is the real Fiji.
Ultimately, Rivers Fiji serves as a model for other regions seeking to balance tourism and conservation. Its success highlights that even small-scale ecotourism can make a significant impact, provided they are built on strong partnerships, sustainable practices, and community involvement. The need to go beyond damage is now clear. Destination stewardship is about shifting toward nature-positive strategies that actively regenerate the ecosystems and communities it touches. The WTTC defines nature-positive tourism as that which halts and reverses damage to nature so that biodiversity can recover. This includes investing in habitat restoration, eliminating harmful practices, and ensuring that both visitors and host communities positively contribute to nature's resilience. This approach recognizes the interdependence between climate action and biodiversity. For instance, coastal mangrove protection enhances carbon sequestration, buffers from storm surges, and supports fisheries, offering both environmental and community benefits. Ecotourism enterprises that invest in rewilding, marine conservation, or native species restoration are not only protecting the future of tourism, they are helping solve the planetary crisis. Nature-positive ecotourism is the next frontier. It invites travelers to be participants in regeneration and not just spectators of scenic beauty. As we stand at a pivotal crossroads, we must ask ourselves, what kind of legacy do we want tourism to leave behind or to lead? A well-designed destination stewardship strategy offers a compelling model for inclusive, resilient, and regenerative regional development. Grounded in the GSTC framework, supported by local communities, and driven by long-term thinking, sustainable tourism and destination stewardship are not just tools, it's a philosophy of care. I encourage destination leaders, honored guests, tourism professionals, and community advocates to adopt a stewardship practice, conduct baseline assessments, engage diverse stakeholders, set bold goals for natural regeneration, support cultural preservation, and invest in young people as future stewards. The following quote by Sir David Attenborough aligns deeply with the principles of destination stewardship, acknowledging our interdependence with nature and the responsibility to protect it through thoughtful, sustainable management of the places we live in and visit. He says, "The truth is, the natural world is changing, and we are totally dependent on that world. It provides our food, our water, and air. It is the most precious thing we have, and we need to defend it. Together, we can shape destinations that are not only visited, but valued, not only protected, but restored, and not only seen, but sustained." Kamsahamnida. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bricker, for your insightful keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now take a short break for 10 minutes. The first session will begin at 10:55 a.m., so we kindly ask our participants to be back in their seats by 10:55 a.m. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll shortly begin. I kindly ask all guests to return to the grand ballroom and take your seats, please. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we'll shortly begin session 1. I ask all guests and participants to return to the grand ballroom and take your seats immediately, please. Now, we'll begin session 1 of the 2025 KOPIST High-Level Policy Forum. The theme of this session is changes in tourism patterns following climate change. We'll begin with 2 presentations. The first will be delivered by Mr. Boratai Oisol, Senior Sustainability Manager at Agoda, followed by Dr. Kora Wong, Associate Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences at Macau Polytechnic University. After the presentations, we'll proceed to a panel discussion with representatives from 5 countries, focusing on strategies and responses to climate change in the tourism sector. So first, we'll begin the first presentation. Please welcome Mr. Boratai Oisol, Senior Sustainability Manager at Agoda, who will speak on the topic Sustainable Tourism New Travel Trends in the Era of Climate Change. Mr. Oisol is an expert who has been leading sustainable tourism strategies in global OTA platforms. In today's session, he will share valuable insights. Please give him a big round of applause.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me at this important forum today. My name is Bora Uysal, and I lead the sustainability function at Agoda, a global online travel company, part of Booking Holdings. Today, I would like to share our perspective as an online travel platform on some of the more sustainable travel trends, from demand to supply sides, and how we at Agoda responding to these trends. I hope this presentation will be a reference to the upcoming conversations that we are going to be having today. Over the last years, conversations about more sustainable travel and climate change in the context of tourism have exploded with new ideas and concepts. We heard everything from third-party sustainability certifications and the promotion of secondary destinations to carbon-neutral flights and AI-powered travel planning. We have heard everything, but what does more sustainable tourism, travel, really mean? As an online travel platform bridging travelers with destinations, we believe that more sustainable travel can only be achieved within the context of tourism value chain. For travel to remain as a force for good, mitigating its impact on environment and local communities, and ultimately become more sustainable within this definition, we believe sustainability needs to be embedded and practiced evenly across the tourism value chain. From the supply side, for example, accommodations, to the demand side, travelers themselves, including the platforms that connect them like Agoda. We think each linchpin within this travel chain, tourism value chain, has a unique role and an opportunity to drive positive change. Starting with the first linchpin, travelers themselves. At Agoda, when we look at what's happening in the market, our sustainable travel research, now it's in 4th year, shows that today, 86% of travelers say sustainability is important when it comes to their travel choices. However, when it comes to actually booking their travel, only 13% of them factor sustainability into their actual purchasing decision. So what we see is that there's clearly a gap between intention and action. This tells us that while travelers do care about sustainability, there are still barriers, whether it's lack of information, whether it's cost, convenience, that prevent them from acting on their values. So without closing this gap by making more sustainable decisions, more accessible, easier, we believe that realizing sustainable travel will remain challenging. On the very front of making sustainable decisions more accessible, easier, as a step forward closing the gap between intention and action, at Agoda, we introduced a program called Eco Deals, which we have been running for the last 4 years with WWF. This program enables travelers to give back to the destinations they visit while traveling affordably. The program mechanism is very straightforward. When travelers look and book Eco Deals at Agoda, we donate $1 on their behalf to local conservation initiatives led by WWF across the destinations they visit. And travelers receive a discount of up to 15%. These discounts are being made possible by our accommodation partners, when in return benefit from increased bookings and greater visibility on our platform. So over the past 4 years, this program has enabled more than 2 million travelers across the world to travel affordably while contributing to sustainability, more than 10,000 hotels to benefit from increased visibility, higher value travelers, and of course, sustainability branding. And in total, together with all these partners that we have, we raised close to $2.9 million in donations to support conservation efforts across Asia. And what we observed last year is that the value proposition of this program has resonated most with travelers going to Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, as well as travelers originating from Korea, Singapore, and China. This, for us, highlights the importance of intra-ASEAN travel, as well as the need for more sustainable offerings to this travel segment. But for a second, moving from the travelers themselves to the second linchpin in this tourism value chain, accommodation providers, when we again look at the market, we see that 77% of hoteliers say that they are working on organizational sustainability goals. But in reality, when we look at a market like Thailand, for example, less than 1% of the hotels' accommodations meeting global sustainability certification standards. So the gap between intention and action that we have seen among the travelers is also the case for accommodation providers as well. And again, the same point, without closing this gap, we believe that realizing more sustainable travel will remain challenging. And closing this gap is coming from more sustainable practices becoming more accessible, more training, learning materials becoming more accessible, and of course, certifications being more wider applicable. Again, on this very front, and again, as a step forward closing the gap, at Agoda, we were the first online travel platform to establish a training partnership with GSTC, Global Sustainable Tourism Council, 3 years ago. And since then, we have together provided in-person sustainability trainings to more than 500 hotel executives across 8 markets in Asia. Together, we have distributed $10,000 worth of scholarships to help these participants, these executives, to obtain professional credentials in sustainability. And now, building on this, we have now launched a completely free digital training platform available in English and local languages in Southeast Asia and focused on sustainability in the context of GSTC standard framework. This platform features best practices from hotels, destinations, interactive tools, a self-assessment tool to help users and hoteliers to put their learning into action. And those who complete the training can receive a professional certificate recognized by both GSTC and Agoda. And again, building on the need for sustainability skills and know-how, we also recognize that the access to capital is a major barrier, especially for tourism SMEs, when it comes to growing their business sustainably and also implementing sustainable practices. This year, in partnership with WWF and Antrus Foundation, we launched the Sustainable Tourism Impact Fund to help address this very challenge. The fund is designed to empower tourism SMEs with flexible investment capital and expertise from WWF and Agoda. In detail, what do we offer is that we provide $10,000 to $25,000 in capital for sustainability initiatives or core business operations. Businesses benefit from flexible repayment terms up to 2 years, aligning with their cash flow and growth trajectory. What we offer is, as importantly, competitive interest rates between 3% to 7%, which we have seen that our investees are often having trouble to reach from traditional financial institutions. And maybe more importantly, investees in our program receive exclusive mentorship from WWF and Agoda, receive guidance to implement impactful sustainability initiatives and scale their operations on the business and the marketing front. Lastly, I would like to talk about how we use our own platform at Agoda in addition to travelers and accommodation providers, so the third and the last linchpin, to connect both ends of the travel chain, the tourism value chain. But again, before that, first, let's look at a few metrics that we observe at Agoda. Our research shows that at the moment today, 1 in 5 travelers say they would actually choose accommodations with third-party sustainability certifications. Also, 2 in 3 travelers express a desire to leave the places that they visit, the destinations that they visit, better than when they have arrived. So in response, at Agoda, what we do is that we deploy several digital tools to tap into this demand. A few examples here. Building on our previous experience with the Travel Sustainable program across Booking Holdings, where we recognized and display the sustainability initiatives of our accommodation partners, and if they reach a certain level with their sustainability initiatives, they would receive a badge. We are now developing an alternative program dedicated to the third-party sustainability certifications. So we are developing a dedicated badge and a filter function that enables travelers, users coming to our platform, the app, to directly search for accommodations with third-party sustainability certifications and give certified properties greater visibility on our platform. However, what we are currently overseeing is that at the moment at Agoda, we have 3.5 million properties being featured on our platform on a daily basis. But what we do have in this program with third-party sustainability certifications is only 25,000 accommodations. So it is becoming difficult for us to tap into the demand, although we built these tools without the activation of all these linchpins that I have been mentioning, so the accommodation providers in this case. That being said, we are also creating responsible travel guides and contents on a range of activities from hiking to diving across Asia in partnership with WWF. And we pair this content with, again, accommodations with more sustainable offerings and promote these both on our platform and social media channels so that we do not put all the pressure on the supply side, on the accommodation sites, but we also have this demand that they can tap into and can make the business case, which is required for the sustainability transformation that we are discussing. So to conclude, in this area of climate change, we see that at Agoda, while there's an intention and an action gap when it comes to sustainable travel, there is a strong business case for closing that gap at the same time. So by leveraging our platform and our touch points with both accommodation providers and travelers, and of course we can include all the other tourism stakeholders like government stakeholders and partners of Agoda here, we believe there's something to gain for everyone in tourism value chain with more sustainable travels. So I'm hoping these data points that we oversee at Agoda on a daily basis and these a few examples and initiatives I have introduced can be a reference point for the upcoming discussions today. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uysal, for your thoughtful speech. I will now invite our second speaker to the stage. Please welcome Dr. Kora Wang, Associate Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Science at Macau Polytechnic University. Please give her a big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Really would like to say thank you to the organizer for inviting me to join this KOPIST conference. I'm really very happy to come to Korea again. Usually when I go to Korea for, private traveling, visiting friends, but this time is really a very good chance for me to share, something in common between Macau and Korea. Dated back in 2015, I think, there was a project, a research project that was commissioned by the Macau Government Tourism Office. At that time, Macau government was really very much, even until now, we are interested in understanding what the Korean tourists who would like to come over to Macau, what would they want. So we try to allocate more resources to better fit the Korean market. And I still remember that built up the kind of association between me and Korea. I still remember when the project was undertaken at that time in the airport or the ferry terminal that you visited Macau, we still had no Korean board signs. So no written where to go, where's the exit. You only find Portuguese, English, Chinese. But then after the research project was concluded, Macau government did something really to, we try to welcome Korean tourists better. So now you can find everywhere in Macau where you can find signboards written in Korean. So I think doing tourism research is very meaningful because the kind of research outputs that we generate could produce some kind of change. So we all become the agents of change in our society and to the world. So today, this topic is related to the global warming and the climate crisis, how we can better embrace this challenge by welcoming and accepting more opportunities, that how we can do a better service design. In addition to the way that, because we have lots of challenges that we have to face, what could be the strategies that we can cope with? So after considering all these kind of factors, I think the topic of today will be about breaking the blind box of climate crisis, adaptations for DMOs and enriching tourist experiences. Blind box, not the kind of very cute dolls that we can buy today, the very famous ones. We are referring to the blind box, the very high uncertainties, okay, when tourists engage in traveling, when we are in an era of a climate crisis. So the talk today, we try to address the main issue, which is how we can make tourists feel better when they know that, okay, I would like to go somewhere to travel to the place that used to be my summer holiday vacation. But if the weather is changing, making it too hot or too cold, or with the kind of uncertainty in terms of traveling safety, tourists might become hesitate in, the intention to visit this destination again. So for the topic of today, mostly I try to address the irreversible challenges and use this examples related to the measures adopted by local authorities. From Harbin, which is famous for ice and snow tourism, and I think it's the same for Korea. Okay, some part of the tourism sectors in Korea, they are also focusing on the snow and ice tourism. And then Macau, SAR, China, we're known for luxurious leisure and cultural tourism. Usually when we introduce ourselves, today more and more people know where is Macau because Macau has already been ranked top as one of the top territories in the world in terms of the world GDP index. So luxury tourism is one of the highlights from the city where I come from, to showcase how the blind box of climate crisis can be unpacked. Once we unpack this mystery, the Pandora box, for example, we know there is something there interesting or worthy enough to visit. The question is whether it's safe to travel to there or whether I might get unpalatable experiences in this kind of traveling. So when we remove these kind of concerns, tourists might have, I would say, more higher level of confidence to explore whether I would like to go to this destination. And the examples that we share today, I will also integrate the research that currently my research team is undertaking, including the mechanism, how we actually can unpack the blind box effect. So the introduction, I've already talked about that, and then we'll talk about the climate box, the climate crisis, how we can deal with that, and then adaptation strategies. So let's move on to the introduction part. I will quickly go through that. So in terms of the carbon emission that actually contributes a lot to the global warming and climate crisis, it has a lot to do, with actually traveling. But luckily, we can see that the recent report produced by WTTC, actually hotel sectors, is doing quite well, contributing in reducing the carbon emission. And I think the world, lots of governments, countries, local authorities, they are all working hard to reduce carbon emission. And apparently, you can see that China is still ranked the top, in releasing the carbon emission. But for reference, the population of China is 1.4 billion. So the second highest emission is from the United States of America, accounting for 11.5%. So you can see that it has something to do with the number of population as well. Well, if we take a look at the country-by-country breakdown of the global carbon emission for 2023, we are working toward that goal. So China aims to hit the carbon emission peak before 2030 and targets carbon neutrality by 2060. So we are working hard towards this direction. And by doing so, that will benefit the tourism and hospitality industry as well. So under this background, then we know that actually the climate crisis in tourism is quite, I would say, severe. And we really have to think of ways to cope with these kind of challenges. For example, you can see the acceleration of global warming. It becomes like not really unsafe, but unsure whether if I go to that destination, and we all know that period of time, that particular destination is quite famous for having typhoons. So should I still go there? Will I be locked in a hotel because of us? Then it will become meaningless if I still go to choose to visit this destination. So therefore, it's quite important for us to do something to let the tourists know that we have measures in order to protect your safety. For example, the threat of rising sea level is another issue to some of the low altitude countries and areas. Maldives, for example, is an example that currently is working with the Dutch company to build some like floating islands. so that tourists will receive this kind of like images, understanding new perceptions about this destination. We also face hidden dangers to tourist safety, okay? For example, like extreme weather and also the kind of infectious disease being transmitted. So all these are the very apparent dangers that tourists actually can read by watching news, for example. And of course, we also get seasonal changes. So we are facing a kind of swap. When some ice and snow tourism destinations, they become too cold to visit. But they are famous for this economic product to be delivered to tourists. While some destinations, they are the traditional beach and sand destinations, then today they also face the same situation that they become too hot to go there. So we are kind of like swapping, okay? And not just only the misalignment of the peak tourist season, but also the predicament of winter tourism. So all this make us to really step into this, and this is also the reason why my research team started to have this research, and currently we are working on that. And let us take a look at the model. Well, in order to address the issue how you can actually make tourists feel safe to go to your destination, we have lots of factors. In the context of climate crisis, from our research team, after we conducted like qualitative research, interviewing tourists, we have this kind of model also inspired, from the existing literature. And then we found several key factors here, including we have confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is really very important because somehow we receive information without verifying whether the information is correct or not, and we simply believe that. By believing in the not so inaccurate information will actually influence the decision. So you can see that there is an error that will lead to the purchase intention. So if I consider that, or if I hear the rumor that that destination is going to be quite chaotic during summertime because there might be strong typhoons or whatever coming, so tourists might hesitate or even cancel the thought of visiting this particular destination. And then we also notice that, risk perception and perceived value, they are as well very important in influencing tourists' intention and eventually decision to visit a particular destination. Among all these various relationships, we found the uncertainty avoidance is also important as a moderator, because it's moderating the relationship, When we see that someone is having a very high level of uncertainty avoidance, then he or she might try not to take any risk. So that's why really going back to that very original point, breaking the blind box of the uncertainties, building up a higher level of trust is very important in influencing tourists, particularly when confirmation bias could really be a very important factor. Currently, from our findings, after after we distribute the questionnaires to some 300 tourists, we noticed that the confirmation bias actually could have two roles. If we, both the positive and the negative. If we can somehow generate a palatable image and that is well received by the tourists, then the confirmation bias actually might work well in the direction that can help tourists to make a decision to visit the destination. Or vice versa, if the confirmation bias contains not very palatable information, that could be a disaster because tourists do not really have much time to really check carefully whether the information they receive is correct or not. Now, let us take a look at the strategies being adapted. In Harbin, the destination which is very famous for ice and snow tourism, and the authorities apparently they know that very well, they have to do something. So that's why they try to make the destination be well equipped with all these kind of advanced technologies, setting up warm stations, meteorological stations for those key attractions. Basically, per 5 kilometers, you get one small meteorological stations reporting, at present in time to inform the tourists, okay, for those who download the apps, so that they know that currently the situation, if I go to that particular destination, is it in a good condition? In a good condition in terms of I don't need to wait for a long time. The weather is good. The conditions, facilities, everything are in good condition. Sometimes when we are dealing with the ice and snow tourism, when the weather becomes so cold, I think Korea might face the same issue that even when you take the cable car, if it's too cold, right? The gondola just simply can't work because it's frozen, the cable, right? So we need to have all this kind of instant information to be released to the tourists. So you get promotion and guarantee of artificial snow making technology. That's a very common tactic that is adopted in lots of ice and snow tourism destinations. And in terms of policy support, I typically drag out some information from the Harbin local authority that a 30% purchase subsidy will be provided by the local authorities to those industry operators for purchasing like domestic intelligence snow making equipment to make sure that in some stage when, so-called during the winter time when the weather is not cold enough. And then we can also see that they try to adopt new material to protect the hardware and the premise of the snow operations. And I think a lot more advanced technologies and new materials will be introduced into the market in order to cope with the global warming crisis that these typical destinations are facing. And that's the second one that I talk about, the climate monitoring and extreme weather warning. So we have these kind of like warning system established in Harbin so that tourists can really check in advance whether they can receive the information in advance so that they can plan their itinerary well and what could be the other alternatives. So here you can see the screen caps of those meteorological stations established by the Bureau, and also some facilities in order to make the travel experience be more pleasant. So optimization of windproof and heat preservation facilities, for example. Now, when we take a look at all these kind of hardware facilities being added, the local authorities care more about the impact, right? So in China, for tourists, they decide to go to somewhere. Before they decide to go to somewhere, they usually check information from a popular, it's not really a social media. Actually, it's a commercial sector, ctrip.com. But it's also at the same time where you can find lots of tourist comments. User-generated content could be found from that platform. So that become the very, I would say, trustable or not, tourists, potential candidates who would like to go to Harbin, they will take a look at that. And let's take a look at this. I don't know. Okay, the effect is not very clear, but it's actually the screen cap content of the user-generated content from release on the ctrip.com, and then you can find that in 2025, right? So we reflect back to the springtime, not really the springtime, the winter time, okay? When lots of tourists will also go to Harbin or some kind of snow destinations, they actually have left some comments. And we can find lots of popular phrases such as warm station, warm corridors. Unfortunately here we can't really see the words, but even though those words are in Chinese, I will translate that immediately right now. They say that it's really very good, okay, that you no longer be afraid of being too cold to go to visit Harbin because of these facilities. So from the local authorities' perspective, the investment that I put in there, not just simply only to shelter and make a good condition for tourist visitation, but is creating a good noise, a word of mouth in the platform where tourists will check for the information. How about Macau? Well, we do not really have volcanoes. We are quite safe actually in Macau. But we are still facing the global warming crisis, which is in Macau, when it's hot, it could be quite hot. Just a few days ago, the temperature of Macau rose to 37 degrees. So it was quite hot during those days. So what can we do as a luxury cultural tourism destination? Macau authorities really work very hard on this, and in collaboration with, we call the Big Six. There are Big Six gaming concession right companies working large scale of economy in Macau, operating casino hotel complexes. So we have lots of indoor facilities in Macau where tourists as well as locals, actually another research project that we are working on, we discovered that even for the local people, we change our traditional leisure pattern in terms of the geographical places that we visit. Usually from the Macau Peninsula, we started to shift to the Big Six hotel casino complexes because Macau is getting hotter and hotter even for the locals. So if you take a look at this, the adaptation strategies, we have, for example, I particularly choose this one. Let's see, with a better image. So this is regarded as the largest indoor swimming facility in Macau and attracting Chinese tourists a lot to come, regardless whether it's in the wintertime or the summertime, because you see that it's with a good temperature and you are not afraid of the kind of challenge of the very hot or cold weather. So that the seasonality with having these kind of indoor facilities is no longer a very big issue in Macau. Now, if we go back to this structural equational modeling that we framed out and we tested, we noticed that there are two key issues, okay, that we learned from this model from the research that we took. So the first one is to reduce the blind box uncertainties and enriching tourist travel experience. How can we do that? Which is we have to control, the kind of like negative images being generated. How can we do that? Well, making the mystery of the unplannable climate crisis in tourism might generate better user-generated content and word of mouth. You see, technological materials and new ways of coping with global warming, critical climate crisis, we are all working on that direction. But how tourists really perceive, the effort that you put in is something which is much more important. If you have established a lot of hardware, money invested into the facilities without, letting the tourists know or feel because they don't even want to come due to the, confirmation bias or the incorrect perception of your destination, then it's a waste of time. So that's why here there is an interesting slide that I would like to share with all the delegates here. I just came back from Sichuan in China, and what I noticed is that there is a very strong message, which is we can't really change the world. We can only cope with the reality. So we can't change the reality of the fact that it's getting hotter and hotter in summer and colder in winter. But we can make you feel better. That is something that we can master. Instead of changing, something which is unchangeable. So here we get on the very right hand side, you'll find three posters, right? There are two Chinese characters, Xiao Man. In China, we have 24 solar terms, okay? And Chinese people are advised to live according to the 24 solar terms. And here we have something which is quite interesting. When the weather is so hot, it was so hot there, we can no longer have the very traditional kind of living style as it was documented in Chinese poems. In Chinese poems, during the winter and springtime, we still boil tea. and we enjoy the tea during that period of time. But when spring has reached the temperature, which is 30-something degree, you can no longer enjoy the atmosphere, boiling tea while it's so hot. No one would like to purchase such kind of tourism product. So the food kiosks, they are very clever. They say that instead of, boiling tea or wine, in a very hot weather, they put ice instead. So that is a kind of like small gimmick we can see as a metaphor, in a way, how we can cope with climate crisis. We can't really change the reality, but what we can do, we can make you feel better. Lastly, the research that I mentioned just now, basically we're finalizing all the data, and we are, doing the sand crafting, producing the manuscripts to be sent to international journals, and hopefully good news will come soon. And if there is a chance given, that would be, really very lovely to have the chance to share the final results with you all. So for future contact, I'm from Macau Polytechnic University, and this is my contact, and looking forward to receiving more comments from you. And that's the end of my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang, for your informative speech. Now, we'll begin the panel discussion for session 1. The discussion will focus on the theme, Directions for Ecotourism Development and Sustainability, and will explore ecotourism policies and ways for regional cooperation in ecotourism. Our moderator for today is Professor Dong-hwan Yoon from Gyeongju National University. He will be joined by 5 country representatives for this discussion. Now, I would like to hand over the microphone to Professor Yoon to begin the discussion. Professor, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Did you sleep well last night in Yeosu? Yeah. My name is Dr. Dong-hwan Yoon. I'm a professor at Gyeongju National University. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful forum as a moderator. It is a great pleasure to meet you all to this meeting here in Yeosu. Yeosu has both culture and natural resources. It's very rich. So I think this is the perfect place to explore ideas for sustainability and the local culture. As we have heard from our previous keynote speaker and the 2 presenters, we are facing growing challenges from climate change, which is rising temperature, extreme weather, and biodiversity loss. So they are very problem at this time. So we have 5 panels from different countries, including Papua New Guinea in June. And I will ask one common question to each country, and then I will also ask another question by country. So we have today's session will dive into how we can transform these challenges into opportunities. I look forward to a productive and solution-driven discussion. Okay, we have 40 minutes for this session, and please understand me if I could give just around 3 minutes due to time schedule. First, I'd like to ask a representative from Azerbaijan. Could you share the current status of your country in terms of pattern changes in tourism?
Thank you, Dr. Yoon. I would like to thank to all organizers, especially Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism for Korea. I am the head of Department of Azerbaijan State Tourism Agency on regional tourism. So I would like to mention some important, the overall presentation of the Azerbaijan, which is the reach of the natural resources In our country, there are 9 out of 11 climate types, which covers the country, which makes the whole ecosystem very rich and diverse. As relatively, despite its relatively small territory, we have a lot of rich natural resources, so which makes our destination very important for ecotourism and sustainable tourism. For example, the 14% of the overall country is covered by the forests, and we have 10 national parks, 10 national reserves, and 24 nature sanctuaries, which covers almost 10% of the country. Why I mention this? Because this is very important for Azerbaijan to reserve and also to protect its natural resources, which in our strategies, in the government strategies, one of the 5 national strategy is the protecting the nature. So under this strategy, under this priority, national priority, all these ecological issues, also there's some initiatives around ecotourism, sustainable tourism. We are focusing on how we can enrich our potential and use it for our communities. So I would like to mention that we are preparing the new tourism development state program, which will also covers sustainability issues. I would like to mention that last year Azerbaijan hosted COP29 in Baku. So you know that this is all the countries they discussed about the climate change issues, and we had the first time now in the COP history, we had the tourism day, and tourism related discussions happened in Baku. So under all these initiatives, we also adopted the national strategy for nature-based tourism for 2022-2026, and around these strategies, we are we developed national eco-hotel standards, and we prepared capacity building programs alongside unified hiking trail signage protocols. Under these protocols, we make the new hiking trails and signage system around the mountains. I would like to mention that our regional offices, our state tourism agency, implemented practical local actions around the rolling out eco-friendly signage and populating the centralized portal with high-altitude routes, such in Khınalı, Glaza village, and developed several villages in the mountains area, which is very important for us because all these mountains villages are are remote areas, and also these villages are special with their community. They have their own language, their own culture, which makes the whole country a multicultural destination. Almost 8 villages is selected for the new touristic village under the touristic village concept, and we are going to upgrade all these villages as a best tourism village under sustainable and ecotourism values. Building the new touristic village, Azerbaijan prepares submissions under the UN Tourism Best Tourism Village frameworks for international recognition and support, setting the stage for focused upgrades. Based on the action made, finally, the Khınalı, which is also the UNESCO cultural landscape, UNESCO site, with its own, the population, with the community, with its own language, in the own culture, So this village is adopted by the UN Tourism as a best tourism village upgrade program. Now we are going to develop this village as a special touristic destination. I would like to thank all the organizers and the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. We couldn't know Azerbaijan promotes ecotourism, and the Azerbaijan government is integrating ecotourism into national planning through some strategies, including eco-hotel standards and hiking trail protocol, something like that. So I have one more question. So what are the natural features that make your tourism village special as a tourism destination? Could you share with us?
Thank you for the question. First of all these villages, especially the selected for the best touristic village as the best tourism village concept, they are the village where with its natural potential and resources. They are mountainous village around. For example, Khynalık is the highest populated settlement in Azerbaijan. It's located on 2,200 meters and with their own culture. So around this community, they are living with the values of the protecting the natural resources. They are using every day their natural resources, natural assets. So our goal here to protect their own culture around the natural, let's say, practice, and also to protect this community and to make it sustainable tourism destinations.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're gonna move on to Kyrgyzstan. Could you share with us about your current status?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
So, hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Malika. I'm represented the Department of Tourism under the Ministry of Economy and Commerce of the Kyrgyz Republic. My presentation speech is, dear colleagues and partners, it is a great honor for me to speak today at the KOPIST Forum. On behalf of the Kyrgyz Republic, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers and to our Korean partners for creating this important platform for dialogues and cooperation. The topic of my speeching is sustainable tourism as a driver of regional development. This is a strategic priority of the Kyrgyz Republic's national policy within our long-term planning framework through 2030. Kyrgyzstan, a land of opportunity and sustainable tourism. Kyrgyz Republic is located in the heart of Central Asia, a land of unspoiled nature, rich culture, heritage, and ancient traditions. With more than 94% of our territory covered by mountains, lakes, and valleys. Kyrgyzstan is rightfully known as the Alps of Central Asia. We are deeply committed to preserving this natural and cultural legacy and view tourism not only as an economic sector, but as a powerful tool for sustainable development. Tourism as a strategic priority. For the first time in our countries, tourism has been officially recognized as a strategic sector of the national economy. Through the National Development Program until 2030 and the Sustainable Tourism Development Program for 2025 to 2030, the government of the Kyrgyz Republic has identified the following key focus areas. First of all, development of regional tourism clusters. Second, supporting for ecotourism sectors, investment in green and digital infrastructure, and again, human capital and international partnerships. About our results for last few years. In 2024, Kyrgyzstan achieved record-breaking tourism milestones. More than 8 million tourists visited the country, including more than 2 million international visitors. The geography of international air connections expanded significantly. Digital services such as booking platforms and tourism mobile apps saw rapid growth. A visa-free regime was established for citizens of over than 80 countries, including the Republic of Korea. Regional cooperation in Central Asia. Kyrgyz Republic is actively promote with Central Asian states to begin to work like one space, one regional tourism spaces. We firmly believe that only through joint efforts can we unlock the full potential of the region as a unified tourism destination. Our cooperation with Central Asia countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan includes, first of all, development of cross-border tourism routes, harmonization of quality and service standards, facilitation of visa and transport procedures, implementation of joint cultural and investment projects. In today's globalized world, such regional formats are more important than ever for ensuring. Kyrgyzstan, a country of open opportunities. Kyrgyzstan stands ready to welcome investors and international partners. We offer a stable legal framework for foreign investments. We actively support green projects and ecotourism. We promote public-private partnerships across tourism initiatives. We are enhancing logistic and digital infrastructure to improve the tourism experience. We believe that tourism is more than travel. It is force for connection and platform for trust, and the path to inclusive growth. Kyrgyzstan is not just a destination. It is your reliable partners and building a sustainable, green, and mutual beneficial future. Let our journeys be shared and our future united. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is promoting tourism as a key part of national planning. So she also says Kyrgyzstan invites global cooperation in digital innovation and sustainable tourism projects. So we could make some cooperation with this opportunity with each country. Okay, thank you. And the next question is, you have a really unique cultural resource, which is a nomadic heritage. So I wonder how your country used nomadic heritage as a cultural experience for tourists.
Yeah, of course, nomadic heritage is activity promoted in our country. I think that one of the biggest international products is World Nomad Games. We actively promoted and build some eco yurts and make some demonstrations for tourists because it's our culture, because it's our history, and I think when some foreign tourism came to another country, first of all, they should know about history, because our history is like our face, and it's like we should make tourist products from our history, from our culture, and heritage is our really, really rich and big historical products from Kyrgyzstan.
Thank you. I really want to experience someday.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Next, we we will hear from Laos. Where is Laos? Could you share your idea and the thought?
Good morning, and thank you very much for opportunity to speak with you today on behalf of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of Laos PDR. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism of the Republic of Korea and the Korea Tourism Organization for inviting Laos PDR to participate in this important meeting. I would like to share the case study of Laos PDR on how climate change impacts our tourism industry. So far, the increasing experience Laos PDR is increasingly experiencing the effect by the climate change, especially during the dry season in places like Luang Prabang or Vang Vieng. The heat waves are becoming more common, making outdoor tourism less enjoyable and risky for some visitors that they are not used to the hot weather. Okay. Climate change also brings a longer dry season and affecting water resource and agriculture, which also impacts our ecotourism and agrotourism activities in rural communities. Waterfalls and rivers, once reliable attractions, are becoming more seasonable because the tourists are worried to visit in the high temperature time. Intensified rainfall and flash floods, particularly in the north and central provinces of the country, also damaging infrastructure like road, bridges. This make access to the remote area, scenic area, especially the tourism destination, become more difficult and dangerous. At the same time, our natural heritage, such as the Guangxi waterfall and some national protected area, which are famous for ecotourism, the Mekong River cruise is also vulnerable to both drought and flooding. Biodiversity loss in forests and national parks is also growing as a big of a concern. So these environmental changes reduce quality, safety, and accessibility of tourist experience, and they may cause long-term damage to the very resort that Laos PDR is depending on. So this is some information that I want to share in terms of the climate change that changed the way tourism that has been implemented in Laos PDR. According to the moderator question, I want to share a little bit more about what kind of sustainable tourism activity that tourists like to engage in Laos. Mainly, we divide our tourism into 3 categories. The first one is the nature, culture, and history. But for history, it's not very popular for international tourists. Mainly, they will engage for nature and culture in Laos PDR. For nature, they'll be looking for ecotourism activities like trekking, kayaking, rafting into the protected area, where they can spend the night in the protected area in the camp that is provided by the providers with maybe I would say less luxury accommodation or facilities. Okay. They will bring out everything that they bring in. They will leave only their footprints. So this is for nature. And for culture, they will most tourists, they would like to engage in community-based tourism activities, such as a homestay and so on. In this kind of activity, they can experience local life from weaving or daily life. How to say, harvesting, weaving, and so on, fishing, something like that. No, so these are some sustainable activity that tourists like to visit when they come to Laos. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Actually, Laos is the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia that does not adjacent to the sea and geographically a little different from other Southeast Asia. He introduced some problems suffering from climate change. So tourists are more season conscious. It is very problem because unstable number of tourists will impact tourism industry. So it was very good to know that. And it is interesting that increasing number of visitors in Laos is looking for sustainable tourism these days. So you introduced some activities for sustainability. And I wonder what kind of the activities are tourists most interested in when visiting Laos these days? Is there any trend in your country?
Yes, thank you for your question. Just like I mentioned, we have three kinds of tourists that we categorize: history, culture, and nature. Most visited is the nature and culture, just like I mentioned in my presentation just now. For nature, they will go for ecotourism activities that engage in, how to say, rural area and also the forest in the protected areas. And for culture, they will mainly they will go to community-based tourism activities such as homestay. Stay there for some tourists. They might stay for a month to experience the way of people, how local people they live. They will learn to do weaving, fishing, and everything in the daily life of the local people. So these are some sustainable activity that tourists like to engage.
Thank you, Laos. Okay, so the next country is Papua New Guinea, and we will meet through Zoom. So, hello. Kupela morning is good morning in Papua New Guinea, as I know. Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Chair, thank you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Firstly,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of my organization to the Republic of Korea Tourism Organization for graciously hosting this event. It is my pleasure to be here representing my Minister for Tourism and Arts and Culture, Papua New Guinea, to speak on the topic of changing tourism patterns amid climate change. Today, as we meet, we're cognizant of the changing environmental, social, and economic changes and challenges we continue to face as a global community. Papua New Guinea is home of some of the first ever climate change refugees in the world that belong to Cartridge Island in Bougainville. Therefore, we are well aware of the importance and the real threat of climate change and how this influences changing tourism patterns. Looking locally, it's imperative for us to remember local solutions, sustainable ways of life in rural and remote settings.
The internet connection is unstable at this time, so can you try to the next country first? Okay, so we will try to reconnect and listen to it later. So we can move on to Vietnam first, and then Papua New Guinea will be later. Okay. Okay, Vietnam, can you share?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Do Wan Wan, and good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of Vietnam National Authority of Tourism, Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism, I would like to extend my warm greeting and best wishes for all of you today's event. I also extend my sincere appreciation and thanks for the Ministry of Sports and Tourism of Republic of Korea and KOPIST for organizing the warm and cozy hosting and giving opportunity for me to present my experience from Vietnam today. Distinguished guests, as you have been know, climate change is significantly altering tourism pattern, and in Vietnam, it's happened rising temperature, extreme weather events, and sea level rise posing substantial challenges to popular destinations and local communities. Therefore, sustainable management practices such as reduced carbon footprints, integrating sustainability into operation and adopting renewable energy sources are essential to addressing this impact. In Vietnam, in many years ago, we carried out a multifaceted approach encompassing sustainable management practices and adaptation strategy policy support is vital to addressing climate change in tourism. The friendly environments and responsibility tourism products increasingly get significant attention from stakeholders, including businessmen and guests, as the representative from the Agoda share the figure. You can see that many people pay attention for the tourism, sustainable tourism products in Vietnam. We have signed and ratified the Paris Agreement on climate change. On July 2020, the Prime Minister approved the National Plan for Climate Change Adaptation for the period 2021 to 2030. And Vietnam Ministry of Sports, Culture, Sports and Tourism also has issued the plan for climate change adaptation for that period, which is showing commitment on greenhouse gas emission reduction and adaptation for the country's climate change. The action plan focuses on implementing adaptive action to climate change and reduce the greenhouse gas emissions specifically, prioritize and supply short-term goals to achieve the long-term goals. Now we have issued some national standards for sustainable tourism, such as sustainability management system for accommodation establishments, the requirements, the guidelines on developing environment specification for accommodation establishment. And we also joined with the ASEAN to set up the ASEAN standard, such as sustainable tourism products green hotel, community-based tourism, clean cities, etc. And that's a kind of standards has been followed throughout all our country. We have published new standards for wellness, but also is on the way to set up the standard for wellness tourism to ensure long-term sustainability that benefits both the environment and community involved. Initiatives such as eco-friendly accommodation and local source wellness treatment enrich natural habitats and protect cultural heritage while offering meaningful, immersive experience to travelers. Now, Vietnam tourism prioritizes some tourism pattern amidst climate change as follows. We prioritize on ecotourism and nature-based tourism, community-based tourism, cultural heritage and responsible tourism, smart and digital tourism, as well as decarbonization and green tourism initiative. This is essential for promote the sustainability in the tourism sector. Right now, climate change is driving a shift in tourism pattern as a traveler seek a cooler destination. The long coastline of 3,260 kilometers with many beautiful beaches and community-based tourism in mountainous areas have seen an increase in tourist number, benefiting from their cooler temperature and fresh nature. Another emerging tourism product in Vietnam is wellness tourism. By merging traditional tourism with the health-centered activities, this sector addresses the growing demand for experience that enhance well-being. In all destinations, the wellness will focus on proactive practices to maintain health, reduce stress. Over the past decades, wellness tourism has seen exponential growth, which is projected to continue reflected a heightened global awareness of health and well-being. This surge is attributed to travel designed for personalized experiences that cater for both physical health and mental rejuvenation. The spa retreats, yoga or fitness program has been more and more attractive. The tourism destination and services which attain the Green Awards in Vietnam, such as the Green Hotel, the Green City, has also gained good results in terms of the growth of guests and also the revenues. Now Vietnam tourism policy reflects our dedication to protecting Vietnam's natural beauty and cultural heritage, and we continue establish itself a prominent and highly competitive destination in the region in the context of climate change. Now, successful adaptation strategy including enhanced resilience through robust climate change action plan, while mitigation efforts focus on reducing the sector environmental footprint through innovative technology and sustainable practices. Policy framework and technological innovation are shown to be critical in advancing sustainable tourism, with policy fostering collaborative efforts and technological advancements supporting efficient adaptation measures. By 2025, we have a target to welcome 22 million international visitors, and that is very important for us to achieve the goal, and we try our best to meet that goal. And once again, in this occasion, I commend the efforts of KOPIST to create the floor for partners to share the knowledge and experience and regarding changing tourism pattern amid climate change. And to conclude, I would like to emphasize that we should working together, and I will learn from other countries about the experience to pass the challenge for climate change. And I would like to thank you for all your attention and look forward to working closely with all of you, especially for the sustainable tourism developments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vietnam. Thank you for sharing the current status of Vietnam. You suggested many national strategies to promote sustainable tourism, and it is a really problem, rising temperature, as previous countries introduced. So travelers seek cooler destination rather than hottest area. So there is a problem. And Vietnam addressed some climate change in tourism through national adaptation plans. So ecotourism, wellness tourism, and community-based tourism, and there are many things to go ahead. Okay, so I heard Papua New Guinea is ready to speak for us. Okay, you come back. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies if you could allow me to continue with my speech. Continuing on from where I stopped, Papua New Guinea is one of the first ever climate change refugees come from Papua New Guinea, from the island of Cartridge in Bougainville. Hence, we are very aware of the real threat of climate change and how this influences the changing tourism patterns. Looking locally, it's imperative to remember the local solutions, sustainable ways of life in rural and remote settings that have been practiced across many generations, therefore empowering local communities to harness their traditions and cultures and traditional sustainable practices can play a small but pivotal role in how we respond as individual communities and nations in this global shift. In PNG, we recognize the need for a whole-of-government approach in close collaboration with private sector and, more importantly, the local communities. Governance structures and coordination platforms and practices are central to our tourism policies. The demands for tourism to be more environmentally sustainable is starting to intensify globally, as we have all heard this morning. We are seeing host communities seek better protection of their environment from the negative impacts of changing weather patterns and tourism capacity issues. In 2023, PNG became a signatory to the Pacific Leaders Sustainable Tourism Commitment that ratified Papua New Guinea's commitment to its goals and priorities, with one goal specifically featuring the oceans. Within our PNG context, there are greater calls for better protection of PNG's biodiversity and conservation of environmental assets for, in, and by tourism. These three aspects of environmental sustainability are currently being addressed to varying degrees in PNG by a range of different policies, legislations, regulations, plans, and practices. PNG's National Tourism Policy 2025, Policy Area Number 1, provides our nation's clear statement that the government will provide the controls and support necessary to conserve PNG's rich terrestrial and marine biodiversity. Our policy directive will ensure that we establish regulations that not only protect but promote PNG's natural environment while strengthening our compliance measures. We will also ensure that tourism operations capacities have the capacity to adopt sustainable equipment and practices in waste and water management, and also ensure that visitors to PNG will contribute to climate-compatible tourism development via green fees. We recognize that as a signatory of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, PNG also holds a responsibility in safeguarding our rainforests and our forest-dependent communities. This is being pursued by our PNG colleagues at the PNG Climate Change Development Authority under the REDD+ initiative. This is a critical initiative that aims to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by conserving and sustainably managing rainforests in Papua New Guinea. This initiative is groundbreaking as the guidelines developed by Papua New Guinea to implement this REDD+ program guarantee the rights of customary landowners and local communities are protected. Now, alongside environmental concerns, host communities in tourism destinations are also increasingly aware of the negative impacts tourism can have on cultural heritage. Such impacts may include undermining the integrity of cultural heritage attributed through inauthentic representation or commercial exploitation of custodians of tangible culture, and or the physical damage of assets of cultural significance. We therefore recognize the importance of integrating cultural heritage sustainability measures to tourism industry standards and improving communication with the tourism industry stakeholders about the importance of cultural heritage preservation and promotion in tourism. It would also be remiss of me at this time not to acknowledge the innovative thinking around tourism in the global tourism market. Reimagining tourism allows us to shift our focus from counting arrival numbers to a more sustainable, community-focused, and culturally sensitive model of tourism that will ensure a sustainable and inclusive footprint across tourism communities. Reducing the environmental impacts of tourism, empowering local businesses and artisans, encouraging immersive experiences that focus on living communities and destinations in a better state is what we all should strive for. On behalf of my minister and government of Papua New Guinea, I thank you all for sharing our regional and global efforts to understand the changing patterns in tourism and travel, and look forward to the best practice outcomes from this forum. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Papua New Guinea. Actually, Papua New Guinea is one of the countries that has rich nature resources. So she introduced the importance of improving communication between stakeholders like tourists and local communities and the government. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Okay, so already it's time. The time is close to the end, but I have still two more questions to the first two presenters. Are you okay to proceed the two questions briefly? Okay, so because we don't have much time, so I'll ask a question to Boratai Yuisar first. He explained Agoda promotes sustainable tourism through programs like eco deals and hotelier training and the support funds for small business. Can I ask, could you share any business success story from a local business join the eco deal program? So can you share any case?
Sure.
So I'm sorry, I could give just 1 or 2 minutes. I'm so sorry.
No problem, no problem. I can give an example with a local eco-lodge chain in Philippines. This chain at the beginning was very reluctant on joining the program Eco Deals, thinking they already attract enough travelers with sustainability conscious, high level of sustainability conscious, and have enough of a sustainability branding for their property. And then once we explained that this product, the EcoDeals program, actually incorporates 2 dimensions, not only being sustainable, but also affordable. So, and this program basically attracts not only sustainability conscious travelers, but also those who are looking for affordable deals to begin with. Then we basically convinced this eco lodge chain in Philippines to join the program. And then what we have seen is that they have started attracting a lot more inbound travelers from North Asia, from especially Korea, with both of these, sustainability and affordability, in mind. And through being part of this program, within 1 year, they have increased their inbound travel share from 25 to 30% to 30 to 35%. Inbound travel increasing, meaning their average daily revenue increasing at the same time as well. Looking at it pre-program, it is again 5 to 10% increase in their revenue. Then once they have become part of EcoDeals, then actually they have been also a participant in our sustainability training that we have organized together with GSDC in Philippines. And now they're actually applying for a fund from our Sustainable Tourism Impact Fund as well. And that's kind of what we want to see, that by being partnered with Agoda, they can unlock all these channels to become more sustainable through our platform, like how they are accessing to a wider range of a market from a business perspective. So that might be, for example, one example.
Thank you very much. I could know Agoda as a OTA is really enthusiastic in promoting sustainable tourism with the programs, various programs. Thank you. And next, I'd like to ask Dr. Cora Wang. She introduced how destinations like Harbin adapt to climate change by using some technology and infrastructure. So, as you explained, traveling under climate change has become an important issue to destination management organizations. What do you think DMOs can do to help tourists feel safe under climate crisis? Can you share your thought?
Sure. Thank you, Professor Young. Because of the time limit, so I don't elaborate, in details. But just quickly to answer, for the DMO to deal with this kind of climate crisis, I think it's really very important in dealing with this kind of like blind box effect, enhancing people's trust via the different kinds of channels, particularly tourists actively search for information. But you will notice that actually on lots of social media platforms, user-generated content, they appear to be ambivalent in a sense that you contain the good side and also the not so good side in one comment towards the perception of a particular facility or the travel experience. So I think to break the confirmation bias is really the key. And by doing so, you really need to have the hardcore science. For example, in Harbin, people will question, how can you make sure that the cable will really work when winter is really so cold? So you say that you have this kind of anti-icing technique being applied on the cable surface, and that will ensure, the rooftop of the facility and everything will function as normal. So that will be the hardcore science to support, to give people credence, confidence, in traveling to your destination. At the same time, you need to have the soft tissues. The soft tissues, you need to rely on, tourists who happy to share their palatable experience. Particularly, I'm sorry that just now the comments could not be really shown in a nice way. In a clear way. Actually, several parents, they mentioned that children felt happy and warm, not so bad when they visited Harbin during the wintertime because of the warm corridors and all these kind of like warming facilities. That's what I call the soft tissue. So you see that people tend to interpret information if we get a message which is ambivalent, containing both the good and the bad side of your understanding of the perception of a particular topic, right? Then that would be quite critical. How you can make people to believe in a way that that will lean towards the better outcome of the result. So that's why I say that to make those with very high level of uncertainty avoidance to reduce that kind of risk, and also to increase the perceived value. There is something there worthy of visiting, and I think that will really help a lot. Because anyway, I think technological advancement will not stop. We will still find lots of ways to address this kind of like crisis challenges. But how we can better make use of this kind of like advancement in technology is really the key. You need to let people know so that we all feel better in reality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wang. She pointed out by breaking the blind box of uncertainty and enhancing tourist perceived value, destinations can improve visitor satisfaction. Okay, thank you for all your thoughts. Actually, South Korea suffered a major wildfire last March, and it spread out very quickly. And the reason for the huge spread is derived from climate change. So as a result, the fire made our tourism industry in the region has shrunken completely. So there is a very big problem in the tourism industry. Okay, so this was the first session to understand pattern changes on tourism by climate change from different 5 countries. I encourage all of us to continue building partnerships across countries, sector, and the communities. So thank you to the keynote speaker and to presenters and delegates from countries. So I will see you in the second session, and I will hand the microphone to the host. Thank you.
Okay. This ends session 1 of the 2025 KOPIST High-Level Tourism Policy Forum. I would like to thank all the speakers and panelists for sharing your ideas with great passion. So you must be starting to feel a little bit hungry by now. We'll have lunch and we'll begin session 2 at 2 p.m. The theme of session 2 will be directions for ecotourism development and sustainability. Please enjoy lunch and I'll see you at session 2. Thank you.